everyone. Welcome. Give this 1 minute to get up and going. Okay, so today is September 2nd, 2020. We're just a little over a week away from starting school. Teachers were in the last yesterday and today, so a lot of little things are being taken care of and added to the list to get that set and ready. I was waiting a little bit because the sign language interpreter was supposed to be here at 2 and she's not here yet. So if she comes in late, we'll get her in, and we're making some calls to see what happened there with the scheduling. But we know things come up, but we will move forward. So I wanted to start today with a few things. One of the things that as we get closer, people are asking about lunch. So the students who come on the 10th and 11th will have an option to buy lunch, their bag lunch sort of things with the new precautions in place. And then everybody, hybrid or full remote, will start with pickup and lunch in school on September 14th. So if you're not coming to school for 3 days a week because you're in the hybrid model, or you chose the virtual model all 5 days, we will have Monday and Wednesday pickups. Monday you'll get breakfast, lunch for Monday and Tuesday. And Wednesday then you'll get breakfast, lunch for 3 days to take you Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're going to have central pickup for this. So that means, similar to the summer, we'll have 11 to 12 every day at Spruce School. If you're in that area, doesn't matter what school you go to, if that's convenient for you, at Spruce from 11 to 12 on Mondays and Wednesdays to pick up your lunches. And then the high school will go from 12 to 1 on Mondays and Wednesdays, but then we'll also have an evening pickup from 4 to 6 for families that are coming home from work or can't get anyone to get there during the day. So every Monday and Wednesday, Spruce School from 11 to 12, and then the high school, which is the back door by the science wing, where we were doing it this summer by the Blue Bus Garage and Sportsplex, 12 to 1 during the day, and 4 to 6. So basically there's 2 hours during the day. The first hour is 11 to 12 at Spruce, then we move 12 to 1 at the high school on Mondays and Wednesdays, and then going forward 4 to 6 p.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays at the same door at the high school for pickup for those lunches. So that's if you're a hybrid model for the days you're not in school, or if you are full remote. There is some legislation looking to see that lunches might be free again. So if that's the case, we'll come on and we'll do a global call and tell you that. But we will require the school and the student's name again when you're picking up. If you're picking up for another family, we just need their name and the number of students. And currently, right now, it'll be kindergarten through 12th grade. I know this summer, because it was free, if you were a homeschool person who didn't come to school ever, you could come get a lunch. If you were a pre-K student, you could come get a lunch. But the school lunch program is really K through 12, and until the legislation gets cleared up a little bit and passed, that's what we're starting with. But as soon as we're able to do more, we'll let you know. So we'll post this on the webpage as well, and it'll also be being sent home with families through the Facebook Live and letters with the kids who are going to school. So that's the information on lunch. Then we have our hotspot and iPad pickup. So it's very important to remember that K through 12, we will have an iPad for everybody, and you will need to bring them to school fully charged, because a lot of our middle school and high school students kept theirs over the summer. We didn't collect them. So blow the dust off of those, dig them out, plug them in, and get them ready for the next couple weeks here when we start school. If you didn't receive one, you're new to the district, or yours were broke, you can get it when you come to school or on the pickup day. And it's looking like we have the 8th and the 9th to do that, but most buildings are scheduled the 9th for the iPad pickup and the hotspot pickup. The thing to remember with the hotspot pickup is the ones we purchased for family use are good for up to 8 devices. So if you have a student at Ohio and you have a student at NTI and a student at the high school, and you have 3 people, they're going to have 3 iPads logging on. These devices, you just need 1. So it's taken us a little longer to work that out so that that family isn't getting 3 and another family gets none. So we're working on that piece there. So information is going out on the school web pages as well as Facebook, and then we'll be doing a global call over the Labor Day weekend to remind everybody about that. So those are some of the big things that I've heard or seen questions on about how do I get my iPad, or my students in hybrid model, how do they do their iPad there. The other important thing to remember for the first 4 days of school, which are the 10th and 11th for our Group A and B students, and then the 14th and 15th, when we're split into the two groups, is that this is a new school year. So the teachers really will be reviewing, what social distancing is, how to wear a mask, when they're wearing a mask, the school rules, and then really spending time on how they'll be submitting and getting assignments through the iPad, through Schoology or Seesaw. So it's very important to have their iPads with them if they have them from the summer. And the real lesson piece will start the 9th and the 16th and 17th once we get through the two groups. So if you're thinking I'm a full virtual student and school starts the 10th, I should start getting assignments, you'll probably be contacted through Schoology, and there may be some things for them to do, but the real assignment piece will come after we kind of train the kids who are coming to school the new rules. So if you can imagine kindergartners who have never been to school before, and maybe haven't used an iPad before, need a lot of training. And for our secondary students, it's not so much the training on the device because they've been using it for a number of years, but how to submit assignments now through Schoology, how to download their assignments and see them, and what teachers will be doing and telling them where to get them and what days and what times. So there's a lot of training that needs to take place those first 4 days in the two groups before we can really start off and running. So those are some of the things that I want you to be aware of, because if you're a full virtual student and you're thinking, well, it's September 11th and they only heard from the teacher once, that's very plausible because they're not doing a lot in school either. They're just going over rules and regulations. So I'm sure there'll be, the other piece you have to keep in mind is that students really weren't in school since last March. And while the district kind of sputtered through that and took some, and didn't, elementary had packets, so to say, rather than iPad learning. This year will be a lot different. So there's a lot different, even if they were used to it, what it's going to look like. So we ask you to be patient for those first 4 days while we get ourselves up and running. Of course, we'll answer questions, though, and be able to talk to the teachers basically through Schoology, through those apps or Seesaw. But the real lessons and a schedule for how that's going to look will come out after those first 4 days. So the kids that are hybrid, Monday, Tuesday, will they have work next week, Thursday, Friday? So I just answered that. Probably not a ton. They will have logins and things to set up, but if they're new to an iPad and Schoology, it won't be a lot until the second week. So I just saw the Ohio letter that's going to be posted online. I'm not sure when the mailing goes out, but there is a Ohio question and answer sheet and a welcome back letter that I just approved, so that should be coming soon. So if you had money on your lunch account and you're not going to be using lunch this year at all, you want to call the business office. So when you call the 807-3500 number, it'll give you a number of options for registration, special ed, business office, that sort of thing. So that's where you want to start, and they can work with you on that. What's the earliest date school may be allowed to go 5 days a week? So the earliest date is different for everybody, because there are some school districts that are going back 5 days a week starting now, because they can socially distance and they can get everybody there on transportation. So mostly the smaller school districts are being able to do that, or they had a large number of students choose virtual. So all the hybrid kids didn't have to happen. They could come 5 days a week. North Tonawanda, being a small city school district, wasn't so lucky to do that. So the plan's always said is that we're going to evaluate over the first 10 weeks to see how many we can make 5 days or how many we can bring back into hybrid, and it's going to depend a lot on the state guidance, because the state guidance wants us to be able to ensure that we can maintain social distancing. So the real answer for 5 days a week in a small city school district is when there's a vaccine or the governor lifts any restrictions on COVID-19. I'm curious if we have addressed the sinks in the elementary buildings. You kind of hold down the water. So yeah, we heard this the other day. So we are buying some different faucets, especially for the kindergarten kids. But the whole push it and then the water comes out model was like a water saving device that we had in there. We did hear from a couple of staff members now that that might be a problem in some of the buildings. So we are looking to, over the next 4 or 5 days, get in there to replace some of those. What will kids in the middle school do with their backpacks when they have gym, since they won't be using the lockers and changing their clothes? So I'm confident that the middle school teachers will take care of that with them and have a safe system for them to keep their backpacks together. I know that in other areas, when I was in elementary schools, if they had to take their backpack to gym with them because it went right up to the bell and then they would get on the bus, there was an area secure within the gym that they could set them down so that they're just keeping an eye on by the teacher. So I'm sure they have a system for that, but I don't know the specifics. You could call the middle school. If you haven't received a call about if you need a hotspot or not, and you need one, should you? No, if you need a hotspot, I would call the school. That if you have more than one student, again, that's important to know. But I'd call that school because they're going to be giving them out by school. And if you have multiple kids, it'll go to the school with your oldest sibling. So if you have a middle schooler and a kindergartner, the hotspot will be given to the middle school student. When are the full remote students not meeting? Why are they not meeting their teachers before school Zoom or at school? My middle schooler is in next week. Okay, let me try this again. Why are the full remote students not meeting their teacher before school Zoom or at the school? So I think that meant to say, why are they not meeting them through Zoom or at the school before school starts, is what I thought that meant to say. And each building is doing that a little bit differently. There are some of the buildings that wanted the kids and offered them a chance to come in. Some parents don't even want their kids to come in for that piece because they don't like the mask rules and take the chance. So we didn't mandate it or have it. They will be meeting them on Wednesdays with the teacher when they do Zoom, and that's the plan we have put together. My middle schooler is in next week when they go over the iPad, and it says question mark, so I'm not sure about that. If your child is using their own iPad, are they using a school issued one at school, or is an iPad usage strictly for at home schoolwork? So if you are a hybrid model student, you would be able to use one in school and leave it because you're going to guarantee that they have one at home. But there will be training the kids on iPad, so if you want them to bring their iPad in and take it home with them, they could do that as well. But they will be using a lot of class time to not only teach, but then show them how to access the iPad work when they're not in school. I understand kindergarten will find out teachers' day of orientation, but when will 1 through 3 find out? So if you are 1 through 3 and it wasn't on your report card, there should have been a call or a letter going out telling you. And if not, I would call the school, Spruce Draker, Ohio, because that was our assumption that they had it on their report card the year before, and when that went home, and the kindergarten students are orientation. Should not need a printer for remote learning. You said some sports starting the 21st. Will they be doing physicals as soon as school opens? We will be doing physicals as soon as schools are open, but because doctors' offices really aren't allowing a lot of kids in because they don't want to get them in unless they really need to see them. The states kind of allowed us to take last year's physical and move that forward. We will be doing some in school as well. So you have a lot of options with sports, and the area sports athletic directors and superintendents are getting updates daily on that. So since we have a couple weeks on that, they'll let you know. But nobody would be turned away because of the physical on the 21st this year. Please confirm that student health checkup for sports can be completed by offices other than Wheatfield Peds. They can, thank you. Yes, so the new policy says if you go to Tonawanda Peds and they did a sports physical and it meets all the criteria for when it was done, we can accept that. Kindergarten orientation is not virtual. It'll be by building, and they'll be sending out those invites, short periods of time. Each child gets 2 masks, and then we have paper masks if they forget them. The 2 that they're supplied with to take home are cloth. For kids hoping for a shorter swim season, any idea if the pool has been repaired yet? I know it was supposed to be a spring project, but not sure what happened. I have not heard that the pool's not ready. Do you have a link for the Zoom app? You just type zoom.com and you can get it on any computer for anybody. What about boxes? What about boxes? Do we have to provide a ride? And maybe that's BOCES. BOCES students who are here 2 days a week will have transportation. Everybody goes on Wednesday, and we're going to do busing by social distancing on the bus again for the Thursday, Friday. So there are a few kids that we're still trying to figure out how we're going to get them, those last 2 days. Are the classes going to be in Zoom for remote learning or taped? Well, first of all, we're not going to be a Zoom district. We're going to be a Teams district, so you're going to be using Microsoft Office for that. And there'll be a combination of both, where we realize some people can't access them at the time because of childcare issues. So while there may be times that it's live or it's posted during the day, it'll be there for the day, so you can access it at night. I remember you said it was a privacy issue before. So we're working all that out because it's in Teams, because it's secure by the district, and you have to log in. We should be fine. Like the other. So yes, it's going to depend on the level, because at elementary level, probably not, with so many different changes and things going on. But it could very well be Teams video of the teacher teaching. Especially if they can't access it live. At the secondary level, I think you'll see a lot more of that live. Can they use any kind of backpack, or does it have to be clear? Any kind of backpack this year. What about buses to BOCES? I covered that. I have a 3rd grader and got a call yesterday. September 8th, hybrid. Kindergarten orientation is by building. So if you haven't heard, I'd call the building or go to the webpage and look at their site, because they're all a little bit different on the times and how they're splitting them up. NTI did a virtual orientation. There just was no way to break them up into small enough groups to get everybody in. So it's posted to Facebook and on their page, so you can get a virtual orientation, and a lot of the teachers at 4th grade are there speaking to them. Yes, the parking pass for BOCES can be gotten on the first day, or you can get it online. Do kids get their own Schoology account, or give my 4th grader the info that I set up a couple weeks ago? They'll all have a login with their name. Will kids doing remote learning be getting masks? So if they return to school, we'll have masks for them. But they're not getting them to stay home right now. Our bus is 5 days for BOCES. So the BOCES bus question is, that's not a good question because yes, there are buses 5 days a week, but we can't fit everybody on 5 days a week. We're working out those schedules still and we're contacting people. So the days you're here hybrid and Wednesday, we'll have room for everybody. The 2 days that, if you're a Monday, Tuesday, we may have trouble on Thursday, Friday, but we're trying to work that out. And vice versa. If you're Thursday, Friday, you may have trouble on Monday, Tuesday. But BOCES is offering virtual classes for those days if you can't get there. And that gives them 3 days of hands-on lessons and 2 days of more reading or book lessons or videos of what's happening. And they'll meet their requirements for their hours with the 3 days a week because they don't always do something every day, especially at the beginning of the school year. Seesaw and Teams will be coming out that first week of school for everybody. Teachers are still learning and setting that up. It's a new system for K-3. Again, they're asking about the kindergarten orientation allowed in the building, one parent. That will be on the letter and the information from the school, however they broke it up. The students who don't have an iPad. So if you are coming to school in the hybrid model and you don't have an iPad, you get it the first day of school when you're in class. No, so if you're coming in the hybrid model, you'll get it when you come to school. So we realize that our Monday, Tuesday kids won't have it until Monday, Tuesday. But that's fine because, like I said, they got to do a lot of training, how to get in, how to do it, all that stuff. So there's not going to be a ton of ELA and math lessons done those first 2 days with the Tuesday, Thursday group. A lot of orientation, getting to know the teacher. We're really going to focus in September on building relationships because if we end up going full virtual, which is a real possibility, if you see Niagara and Erie County, which are part of that same group, got the red warning flag from the governor because our COVID rates are at 5% already in the area, and he has said that around the 7 to 9% he would close schools. So we really want to focus on the time we have. Hopefully it's a good long time in 10 weeks and we can bring back more, but if it ends up being 4 weeks or 5 weeks, we want to really focus on how they're going to access material and get them set so they can do more. Someone's saying, can they do BOCES online completely? And BOCES does has a full virtual model. The problem comes into if there's certain hours for hands-on labs, like in cosmetology or the culinary or the welding. You have to talk to BOCES about how they're going to work that out. But if you're virtual and you're afraid or you have a compromised family member in your house and you don't want the kids coming to school, they can still watch the lessons and partake that way. So Ohio Elementary drop-off and pickup times, which will be on their webpage because all are the same. But walkers and pickups will be dismissed at 3:45. Dismissal will be staggered to reduce destiny. So children in K1 will be dismissed out of the primary door 6. Children in grades 2-3 will be dismissed out the main door 1. All this is on their frequently asked questions on the webpage. And then students can enter the building starting at 9:15. All walkers and drop-offs K3 will enter the building through the main door 1. Okay. So the important thing with people asking when we're going to go 5 days a week back to normal school or when we're going to go full remote if the numbers go up. The Department of Health, the governor make those decisions. School districts are going to be watching closely and in conjunction with the Department of Health. And if we see a tick in attendance that in a building that is 5% higher than normal based off of the first couple of weeks, the Department of Health will give us guidance. The governor has said we're not going to be back in session, we'll be full remote if the area is between that 7 and 9% area of positive cases. So a lot of that's out of our control as far as when we open and close. It has to work with the Department of Health. So if your son is going hybrid and he needs a hotspot, you could come get it on the 9th, which is the Wednesday before, or he can get it on the 10th with his iPad at school. Will we have an option to keep remote beyond the first 10 weeks? We're going to offer remote as long as we're not fully open. So that'll be an option. People who chose 10 weeks, who want to go into the hybrid model, if the governor doesn't let us fully open, we will know the numbers of how many we can fit in each building and at what grade level, and we can start to try and get those up to capacity. But to sort of say, if school opens, the governor says, we're clear in New York State, you can open, then the virtual learning falls off because we would be offering full attendance. But for the foreseeable future, if we can stay open, I think we'll be offering virtual, maybe for the 2021 school year. How long is the maximum time kids can be on the bus? I don't know that there is a maximum time. I know some rural areas, they're on the bus over an hour. I've heard stories of they're on the bus for close to 90 minutes. I don't know that we have anybody here like that unless they have an out-of-district placement that takes 60 or 70 minutes to get to, because that's the classroom that they need. But the last time I looked at the school law book, which was not that long ago, because I kind of use it as a reference all the time, there was no maximum time for kids to be on a school bus. Like, you can't have them on there for more than 2 hours, what I think you're asking. I don't think that states that. I think we'd all agree it's not great, but, and I don't know that we have anyone that would be over a 45, 50-minute ride to their placement. And obviously, if you're in district, it's not even close to that. I would say 30 minutes is the most. So we have a lot of work to do still. We do have the Labor Day weekend, and by law, we're off on Monday the 7th, but we're back on the 8th and 9th, so I'll be doing another Facebook Live on the 9th. And then the kids will be starting on the 10th, so that'll be exciting for all of us to see how that works and how that goes. The 9th looks like for most buildings will be the pickup for the iPads and hotspots for those people who are full virtual. So watch your phones and watch Facebook as well as the web page. Just don't depend on getting a notification on Facebook. You should be checking the district web page at least, I would say every other day from now until the 10th, because there's a lot of things that change, and that is a static that you can go to 24 hours a day, where we don't have people to push things out on Facebook 24 hours a day. So please, if you're wake up in the middle of the night, you think, geez, I wonder about this, it's more than likely on the web page. There is a search button. I do test that out to sort of put in lunches or Ohio pickup time, and it usually takes me right there. It's pretty user-friendly. If you go to ntschools.org and type in what you're looking for, I would be surprised if you can't find it in a couple minutes. Plus, anything that's new or different with hybrid or virtual is under the COVID-19 tab, and a lot of that pops up that you have to look at before you can move forward. So you can click right on the pop-up page and it'll take you to that information. Is 2 hours acceptable ride for out of district? That's probably the longest I've heard, but I do know districts do that. And it's not ideal because those are probably the kids who probably can't sit still for 2 hours if they're going to an out of district placement to begin with. But that's sort of the distance that is required, and then if they're picking up other kids and stops along the way, it could very well be 2 hours. So I don't know that there's more than a handful of kids in every district that have to deal with that, unless, of course, like I said, you're in a rural district, and those kids sometimes are on the bus 2, 3 hours. So I will double check the law book, but I know I was just looking at that the other day, and that was a question answer, and I believe the answer was no, there's no maximum time for a bus. All right. I'm very sorry that the interpreter didn't get here. We will make a few calls to see what happened there, because when she left last Wednesday, we said we'll see you next week. So I'm sure something came up along the way and they got wires crossed. But we'll try to have the interpreter back next week. And I do go to Facebook now and check. I get notifications if there's some questions or comments because people watch it after work, and I will try to answer those or send them to the building to contact you. But again, your best bet is to do call the building and leave a message where your student will be, because I have another meeting next after this. I have board meetings, so I'm not always on there 24/7 basically. So if you need a quick answer, leave a message, and everyone's pretty much back in the buildings now as of September 1, so they should be able to get back to you pretty quickly. If a child is remote and gets free lunch, will they still get it if they are in UPK? Right now, I'm going to say no, but if you missed the beginning of it, I mentioned all this, and I said there's legislation in the state that they may be able to get it in UPK. But right now, I'm required to only do kindergarten through 12, but they've made the legislation to open it up. So we hear that's coming. It's not official. I haven't gotten the notice. When we do, we'll let you know. 15-1 students, consultant teacher, are in the 2-day model, and that is correct, yes. If you are in a 12-1-1 or an 8-1-1 here in district, it'll be 4 days a week. And please keep the questions coming, call the buildings, stay safe, stay strong. Our numbers in Erie and Niagara County are going up, and if they get to a certain point, it's, we might not even get to open the doors. So be smart this Labor Day, wear your masks, stay safe, and we hope to see you all next week on the 10th. So take care, and we'll be back next Wednesday, and I'll be watching questions throughout the week and trying to answer them as they come in. Stay safe, everybody.